From the Matthew Knight Arena in downtown Eugene, we welcome you to UConn Women's Basketball on SNY, the #1 team in the country. The UConn Huskies at 4-0, set to take on the Michigan State Spartans, also undefeated at 4-0. Welcome to Eugene, everybody. Alongside Megan Colmo, I'm Eric Freed. Great to have you with us. Unfortunately for UConn, they do not have Katie Lou Samuelson available to play here again today. Still out with that left foot injury, but Justine Ward was told by Gino Auriemma a short time ago that Katie Lou is making progress. She isn't running yet, but the hope is that she'll be ready to go against Notre Dame. That's a week from tomorrow, but still some time to go before that decision is made. Now, as for this UConn team playing without Katie Lou Samuelson, they were very impressive in a win over 5th-ranked UCLA last time out. What impressed you most about UConn's win over UCLA?
Well, you know, you learn through adversity in life, right? Well, I would call this an adverse situation. Third game in 5 days on the road. They're 3,000 miles away at a really good UCLA team. Gino took his team out there without their leading scorer. Okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to learn? Well, he learned that they could take a punch in a really raucous crowd against a good team, and they punch back.
And Nafisa Collier counterpunched her head coach, it sounds like, a little bit with a 23-point performance and leading UConn to that win.
Well, as only Gino can do it. You know, he had a couple conversations with her and said, come on, Fisa, you got to shoot the ball more. I don't want you to pass it. I want you to look to score, and look how she responded. When they really needed her, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 5 steals, and she played all 40 minutes.
The Huskies face Michigan State for the first time since 2004 here today, and they do so in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We'll have the lineups. He just flipped that kayak. We'll have the lineups in the tip coming up next. Take a look at the Michigan State scouting report. They are #1 in the country in scoring margin, and rebounding margin, and playing without Taya Reimer the last 2 games. She will play today as she works through a hamstring injury. Here are today's starting lineups presented by Subaru. Let's start with the Spartans. As I mentioned, Reimer in the starting 5. Brandy Agee, the #2 scorer, averaging just under 14 points a game, closing in on 1,000 for her career. Taryn McCutcheon, very good sophomore point guard. For Connecticut, the starting 5 of Crystal Dangerfield, Kia Nurse, Gabby Williams, Nafisa Collier, and Azurá Stevens once again starting in place of the injured Katie Lou Samuelson. And UConn's got a different look here as they join in the celebration for Phil Knight's 80th birthday, the PK80 Invitational. All the teams playing have these black accented uniforms, and the coaches
going
casual Saturday for Gino Auriemma and his staff as they're ready to go here. 995 victories for Auriemma, set to go here in Eugene against Susie Merchant's Spartans.
Cleaning out his nails before the game.
We all focus in different ways. We're ready here at the home of the Oregon Ducks. Oregon and Oklahoma will be game 2 of the doubleheader here for the PK80 Women's Invitational, and UConn will have the first possession. Melissa Barlow, Bob Schofield, Anthony Robinson are officiating through.
The key for Michigan State is to come out and compete, be competitive. Don't stare at the name on the front of the jersey.
UConn runs their offense. Nurse finds Collier as she picks up where she left off against UCLA.
Yeah, Collier was effortless last year the way she scored in the first couple games of this season. Struggled a little bit offensively.
Allen tries the entry. It's knocked away by Williams, but picked up. Allen crashing the boards. Well, this is a very good rebounding team, and the Spartans getting a second chance. Unable to cash in, and Williams has this rebound for the Huskies.
Yeah, best rebounding team in the country at this point. Average 57 rebounds a game.
Stevens is fouled on her way to the basket. UConn moving the ball their previous trip, and has led to a point in the paint. Points in the paint.
You know, it's spacing. You know, spacing and knowing where your teammates are. Great back cut there by Collier. She moves so well without the basketball.
Stevens at the free throw line. Susie Merchant, the head coach in her 11th season at Michigan State, Well, the biggest concern for her heading into this game is the degree of difficulty, because their first 4 games, their most recent game was against Detroit Mercy. They did not play a very challenging schedule. They won all 4 games. UConn's played 4 nationally ranked teams in their first 4 games, so this is a big step up for Michigan State.
Yeah, and as I said before, she told me, she said, Meg, I just want our guys to compete.
AG tries to skip. Kia Nurse got a fingertip on it. 9 to shoot for Michigan State.
That pass right there is an example. That maybe worked in the first 4 games, not going to work here against UConn.
Michigan State with victories over Robert Morris, Oakland, College of Charleston, and Detroit Mercy, scoring at least 95 points in each of the 4 wins. Facing a Connecticut team that has really played well defensively right from the start of the season. Nurse got a hand in there, and it's going to be a shot clock violation and a stop for the Huskies.
Another good defensive stance for Gino Auriemma's Huskies, which is what, gosh, they do so well. Tremendous team defense, nice help coming down from Nurse. Everyone knows where the ball is. You know, they struggled a little bit rebounding, and now to say struggle is perhaps a stretch. But they got to really box out against a Michigan State team that rebounds very well.
Kia Nurse wide open for 3. Collier on the offensive glass. A second chance here for Kia Nurse. This time she'll try from 2 and get it.
Shot number 11, Kia Nurse.
Kia was off on her outside shot against UCLA, was 0 for 4. But she is 7 of 16 now on the season on 3-point attempts. Colley's deep 3 won't go down. UConn running off the rebound, and look how quickly they push it up the court. That's off a defensive rebound, and it leads to a layup. 8-0 UConn.
That's where Azare Stevens at 6'6" just give you such options.
Quick shot for Michigan State. And Collier inside again.
What a great athletic play by Collier, knowing that she could take Reimer on the run there.
Finally a hoop for Michigan State. Shea Colley, the redshirt sophomore from Brampton, Ontario, transferred from South Carolina, stops the UConn run to start the game. Dangerfield. Michigan State wants to run off the miss. It's Colley taking it at Kia Nurse. Ducks inside, and a foul called on Nurse. Well, a couple of things that have been obvious here in the early going that we've seen this year. We saw it against Maryland when UConn, off a defensive rebound, is running and outrunning you down the floor, but also quick shots from Michigan State. You don't want to go too fast against this UConn team because it will get away from you quickly, and now some substitutions coming in for the Spartans.
Yeah, Michigan State's going to want UConn to play defense for the entire shot clock. Don't shoot quickly, because then if you miss, it's off to the races in a layup or a wide open shot the other way.
AG and Reimer head to the bench. Kadrika Cook, number 2, comes in. Another basket in the paint for UConn. Kia Nurse. And now a turnover. And we'll go back the other way.
And that's how UConn can get you rattled. And Susie saying, come on, guys, just play the game you know you can play. I mean, she was proud of her team for those first 4 games. Yes, not the same caliber of play that UConn played against, but they did what they were supposed to do. And they're leading the country right now, averaging almost 100 points a game.
Gabby Williams. Back to Nurse. Dangerfield. Shot clock down to 5. Stevens. And it's going to be a foul on Nikisa Collier.
Really good box out inside by Michigan State to force Collier over the back. Really good defensive sequence there by Michigan State.
Tara McCutcheon runs the point. Sophomore shoot it as well from East Lansing. Victoria Gaines, they call her Coco on the miss, and Collier with the rebound, and again, UConn running and getting another layup.
Another nice fast break opportunity.
And back the other way, another quick shot from Michigan State, and guess what's coming back the other way? Another layup, and a timeout called by Michigan State. Points in the paint, fast break points, points off turnovers, all adding up for UConn. The #1 Huskies out to a 14-point lead in the opening minutes here in UG. Welcome back to the third meeting all time between UConn and Michigan State. That last meeting was in 2004 when Michigan State won at the XL Center. All UConn here in the opening moments as we go to Como's Court Vision.
Check out where everyone is. Okay, so in this shot, you see there's 5 white jerseys and there's 4 green jerseys. Now let's see how they run up the floor. You know, the game is not that complicated. If you run hard and you know, look, Ezra Stevens wide open. How does that happen? That's the stuff that gets coaches scratching their head and getting gray hairs. Good hustle by UConn and just lack of recognition by Michigan State.
12 of UConn's 16 points have come in the paint. That has helped them shoot 70% from the field so far. They have 6 assists on 7 field goals, 4 assists so far for Crystal Dangerfield. Three-pointer out of the timeout is missed. Allen can't get the putback. Gabby Williams crashes the boards, and UConn off and running again with Dangerfield. Michigan State back this time, and UConn will set up in the half court. Williams. Collier turns. Can't get it. AG tipped it, but UConn controls it. A little bit better defensively here for Michigan State in the half court, but then Crystal Dangerfield streaks to the basket. She got tripped up, nothing called, and back the other way come the Spartans.
Could have been this court.
Tripped on a fir tree. Another miss for Michigan State. They are now 1 for 12 from the floor. Collier's 3. UConn cooling off. Michigan State unable to secure the rebound via Nurse. And a foul will be called on Gabby Williams. Trying to grab the rebound as it was AG taking a tumble. Reimer back into the game. Sydney Cook's in for Michigan State as well. Susie Merchant said before the game they were going to really kind of manage Reimer's minutes after missing the last 2 games, right?
Yeah, she told me that they were just going to try to play her in spurts. She can't stay for real long stretches yet. She's just not ready.
Averaging 15 points a game in the first 2 games this season for the Spartans. Colley could take for 2.
Basket number 0, Shea Colley.
Nice athletic take by Colley.
Colley has all 4 of the Michigan State points. UConn has missed their last 5 field goal attempts after that Nurse miss. Michigan State back the other way, trying to cut into this 12-point deficit. Down to 10. That's a freshman from Kenosha, Wisconsin. Top recruit for Susie Merchant coming into the season, averaging 12.5 points a game to start her collegiate career.
Yeah, talk about coming in. Baptism by fire, but Cooks has been having a tremendous freshman campaign so far.
Gabby Williams to the basket. First field goal attempt for Gabby.
What a great take by Williams. So quick getting to the basket, so efficient with the left hand.
8 points, 11 rebounds, 3 steals in her 30 minutes against UCLA. Oriema selecting just 6 players to take the court in that game. Another miss for Michigan State. Here's Williams. Williams crosses over, takes it to the hoop, won't get it to go. Knocked out of bounds by Collier. And it'll be Michigan State basketball. Here's Gabby.
See, this is where she's so tough to defend. She's so explosive with the basketball. She can go either right or left.
Here is the first substitute for UConn. It's Megan Walker coming off a fantastic effort. 13 points on 5 of 7 shooting against UCLA.
Well, she grew up a little bit against the Bruins, didn't she? Came in and the biggest game of her career and played her best basketball.
Reimer trying to post up Kia Nurse. Nurse standing her ground, and a rebound for Gabby Williams.
Look that rebound down with authority.
Azrae Stevens to the bench in place of Walker. We saw against UCLA, Walker loves that three-pointer from the corner. Collier will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple.
Collier posting up the 6'4" freshman Cooks. But checking out the other end. Great defense. And then going up and ripping it down.
And looking to run right after ripping it down. That's the only way Gabby knows how to do it.
She plays hard.
So Collier, after the strong game against UCLA, raised her shooting for the season up to 50%. Remember, she was almost 68% last year. That's going to be the second personal foul on Gabby Williams. She turned to the UConn bench saying, "I didn't touch her."
Well, not a lot of Huskies have come off the bench thus far this season. You may just say, you know what, stay out there and figure it out. They got a deep bench, but haven't gotten a lot of time thus far.
Crystal Dangerfield's done a real good job against Taryn McCutcheon so far in the battle of sophomore point guards as McCutcheon turns it over right in front of the Michigan State bench.
It's never a good place to turn the ball over, right in front of your coach.
Inside of 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Williams back outside, Collier open. That three won't go down. Well, it's been a struggle from outside the three-point line for UConn so far, 0 for 6 from outside the arc, and they are 1 for their last 8 coming out of that Michigan State timeout.
And Michigan State zone defense is giving UConn some problems.
Cooks liked it right when it left her hand. 5 points for the freshman.
She's shooting 54% from three-point range as a freshman. That's impressive.
She started the last 2 games in place of Reimer, getting 20 minutes a game, so she's played quite a bit. Walker, corner 3, another miss from outside.
She likes that corner 3, too. Not that time. Nice anticipation there by Collier.
Turnover number 3 officially for Michigan State. I think they may have missed a couple in there. And now a turnover for Connecticut.
Yeah, a little bit of a sloppy pass from Williams.
Kia Nurse read that pass and batted it out of bounds. 34 seconds to go in the quarter. Jenna Allen comes back into the game as Reimer will check out. Stevens is coming in for Gabby Williams, who goes to the bench with the 2 personal fouls. Nia Holly into the game as well for Michigan State. So Susie Merchant's gone pretty deep into her bench.
Oh, they play a ton of players.
Shot clock is off. Crystal Dangerfield will slow it down and hold for one final shot. Down to 5. Nurse got tangled up. Walker's going to have to launch it. Well, it started out as a close to perfect start for UConn, but they certainly have cooled off here. They still take a 10-point lead to the bench at the end of 1 quarter at the Nike PK80 Invitational. UConn up 19-9 after. Despite going 0 for 8 from outside the three-point line, UConn with a 10-point lead at the end of 1 quarter. Let's go to Justine Ward, whose report today is brought to us by Nissan. Hello, Justine.
Hey, Eric. Well, Gino Auriemma said this team really found their identity in that game against UCLA, and that's for a few different reasons. He said, first, we had 3 players that played 40 minutes. Secondly, our defense came out against a team that scores a lot of points on the road. And finally, he said Megan Walker came in, played great when we were in foul trouble, and that's a huge plus moving forward. Guys?
Final score of that game, Justine, 78-60. UConn shot 54% from the field, but they've gone cold here in Eugene, shooting 40% right now after that hot start 1 for their last 10, and they're getting looks against this Michigan State zone. They're just not making shots.
Yeah, and as Gabby Williams has to watch from the bench with 2 fouls, Michigan State will stay in that zone defense as long as they can.
UConn comes out in a 2-3 zone. Megan Walker with the rebound, and she'll hand it off to Crystal Dangerfield. Dangerfield lost the handle, is knocked out of her hands. It'll be UConn basketball. Huskies with 7 assists in the first quarter. They had 8 field goals. Kia Nurse leading the way with 8 points for UConn. Walker looking to post up. Walker showing a little low post move, and Stevens cleans it up. 6 points for Azure Stevens.
UConn in a little zone defense themselves here. 2-3.
Kali tries the 3. Stevens with the rebound.
They did that against UCLA, putting Walker in there, the freshman, and even Stevens in her first year. They're more comfortable with this group playing a zone.
Foul called on Kali. Let's take you back to that previous hoop for UConn.
Nice, I like that nice aggressive move, but even better, crashing the offensive boards, the 6'6" Stevens.
UConn right now a +8 in rebounding margin. That was going to be an interesting number to watch, considering that Michigan State came into the nation leading the country in rebound margin at a +28 in 4 games.
Crazy, right?
Collier. She tipped it to keep it alive. Stevens trying to move on Allen. Got it.
See, that's where Stevens is different. She can put it on the floor and take you to the basket and then pull up for the Sweet J.
Foul called on Crystal Dangerfield. That's her first.
There aren't many 6'6" women in the game who can do that and then pull back and say, okay, I'll take the baseline jumper.
Real quickly out of that whistle, Michigan State throws up a wild shot, and UConn's got it. Dangerfield.
UConn's got to find ways to keep Dangerfield involved in the offense. She's proven herself a trustworthy scorer.
Another quick take for Michigan State, and UConn settling things down now. Dangerfield knocks down the 3 and got knocked down. No call, as UConn finding the basket now after going cold for a little while.
Quick 5 points there for Dangerfield.
And Nafisa Collier with the steal. Kia Nurse takes off, and it'll be another layup for Kia Nurse. Timeout called by Michigan State.
How many times have we seen that over the years? The defense that leads to offense, just like that.
10 points for Nurse. UConn rolling here in the second quarter, up 21. Second quarter scoring so far, UConn 11, Michigan State 0. Getting it done defensively, and it's been a layup drill offensively.
Well, you know, we've seen this time and time again. They get the ball up the floor so quickly. Stevens does a great job of getting up the floor. And, you know, when you have forwards and centers on your team that can run and finish, but they get the ball up the floor on the pass, which is why they just crush you from that defense to offense. You see there, 8-0. It seems like so much more.
And points in the paint, 18 for UConn, 2 for Michigan State. And a lot of it just layups coming off those rebounds and getting stops. After the Michigan State timeout, Spartans bringing it to the front court. Only 2 players have scored so far, Kali and Cooks. Brandy Agee. Allen now inside, that won't go. Collier got a hand on it.
Nice cut by Allen to the middle of the lane, just couldn't finish.
Collier posting up. A little help. Now had the ball knocked out of her hands, and Dangerfield comes to settle it down. Susie Merchant ready to jump out there to play a little defense. Dangerfield, no. Rebound for the Spartans.
Flexibility, and I'm not sure I could do that.
You could, but you wouldn't be able to get up.
Yeah, exactly.
Stevens fighting for the rebound. Allen falls on her. Now UConn running again. And it's going to be a foul called, I believe, on Shea Colley.
Yeah, a little too physical in that lane.
I'll charge the Spartans number 0, Shea Colley. Her second foul of the game, second team foul.
Susie Merchant had a health scare last season. Fainted during a game on New Year's Day, then was hospitalized about a week later in New Jersey. Missed 3 weeks, had an abnormal heartbeat and low blood pressure.
Yeah, she said she feels great now, though, thank God. She works out a lot.
Stevens couldn't get it, but look who's trying to fight for that basketball. It's Megan Walker back in the game, but touched last by UConn. Michigan State ball.
Walker had her little coming out party at UCLA. Just proving the competitor that she is. Played big when her team needed her.
And if we're going to use Crystal Dangerfield's performance last year maybe as a guide, remember, Crystal had a great game against Baylor. Collier, more fast break hoops. Another layup as Nafisa Collier finishes it. Crystal Dangerfield had a great game against Baylor, but then that bulb would get a little dim, then would get bright. You know, just like there was those moments that she played great. That's going to be the challenge for Walker, is sustaining things as a freshman.
Exactly. Freshman consistency is the big question.
Crystal Dangerfield was bailed out by Nafisa Collier. Looked like that was heading out of bounds, but Collier with quick hands.
And Walker was wide open in the lane. Stevens couldn't find her.
Little pick and roll. Stevens inside, counting the foul. She and Collier work well together to get the 2.
Pretty play. Very finely executed. You know, again, it's all spacing. And here the nice spin away from the defense, create that foul. You see pick roll, and then you feel the defense. So she spun around, and Reimer was buried, had no choice but to foul.
Reimer heads to the bench with her first personal foul.
So Stevens just has so many weapons. Be fun to watch her evolve as her UConn career progresses.
UConn's stellar defensive play continuing here against Michigan State. Spartans have not scored since the 125 mark of the first quarter. Remember, it was 19-9 at the end of one.
And it's unusual. It's not their classic man-to-man trapping and creating steals. It's zone, but they're doing it effectively and aggressively. Nice back cut.
On the back cut, Kia Nurse from Collier. What a quarter for Connecticut. Finally, the run ends. UConn had outscored Michigan State 17-0 to start the second quarter.
And that's how they get you. They go in those spurts.
McCutcheon getting her first points. Kyla Irwin waiting to get into the game. A 2-on-1 the other way and fumbled. The problem with the 2-on-1 was there were two players who were not ball handlers for Michigan State. And Dangerfield has it. Stevens. Collier is just working hard in so many facets of the game. Getting rebounds, getting assists, getting bumped, getting baskets.
I tell you what, they look like they're having a lot of fun out there.
38-12 as Agee gets her first points. Brandy Agee, grad student from Detroit, knocking it down for 3. Long, uninterrupted stretch comes to an end with a whistle and a foul called on Cooks.
Look at that back cut. I mean, that's two players in sync. Defensively, if you're going to overplay, UConn has a tendency of making you pay.
There's Kyla Irwin into the game. She did not play against UCLA as Megan Walker goes to the bench. Collier can't hit on the baseline out of bounds play, and Michigan State will bring it up with McCutcheon. Agee. That's off the mark. Dangerfield turned around too late. I think you could just probably, if you were facing the opposite way, just throw it towards the basket, and Kia Nurse would settle under it. She's been that far ahead all day. Collier.
That's number 24, Nafisa Collier.
Nafisa Collier, the third Husky into double figures. She has 11. Stevens with 10. Nurse leading the way with 12. There's something that's such a challenge for teams like Michigan State. As the whistles blown, foul called on Connecticut.
Yeah, Kyla Irwin.
Let me just take care of a little business right here. UConn taking on number 6 Notre Dame, one of the biggest college hoop matchups of the year. Sunday, December 3rd, 4 p.m. at the XL Center. Tickets are on sale now at UConnTickets.com. UConn women's basketball demand more. You were saying?
That's some serious business. That'll be a great game. Always is.
Basket number 1, Sydney Cooks.
Dangerfield, Nurse Collier, Stevens, Irwin. The 5 on the floor for UConn. In on the shot clock. Stevens, Irwin. Collier, inside, out, Nurse. That won't drop. Oh, look at who comes flying in for another Connecticut rebound. It's Stevens who rips it away.
She's everywhere.
And a defensive rebound for UConn, and a timeout being called by Gino Auriemma. Dominating on the glass, Meg. UConn a plus 14 in rebound margin.
Against the #1 rebounding team in the country at this point in the season. There, it's just effort by Azurá Stevens.
Stevens got her first start against Maryland, went for 18 points and 12 rebounds. You know, I love these Gino quotes that I always write down, because you know at some point we're going to catch him doing something against that. But Gino said she's just the nicest kid in the world. I can't get mad at her.
Well, you're right. She's a great kid.
Does he reserve the right to change his mind once in a while?
Yeah, in the middle of practice, absolutely. And sometimes, you know, you can be too nice. He wants kids to be aggressive and mean on the court,
well,
and then be a great kid off the court.
And one thing for Stevens, too, I think everybody saw her 6'6", just sitting on the bench last year, and saw what she did for Duke and figured she would just get right out there and pick up where she left off. But being away from basketball and playing it the UConn way, that's something that takes a little time to get going. No, three-point shot just not there for UConn here today. They're 1 for 13 outside the three-point line.
The key is you have to keep shooting it.
McCutcheon drops it down low, and there's Stevens with a block shot. Nurse did not have numbers, and it ends up as a turnover.
Good team defense, knowing where the ball is. And there's that threat that they have on the defensive end, the long outstretched arms of that 6'6" Stevens that we spoke so much about her offensive skills. She's got some on the defensive end as well.
Well, just watching Gino as they were coming up the floor, he was yelling at her and he was upset. I think out of the timeout, he wasn't looking for a Stevens 3,
yeah.
would be my guess. So he was at least perturbed with Azurá Stevens. UConn forcing McCutcheon into an off-balance 3. Offensive rebound for Michigan State. Cook drives at Irwin, who gets called for the block.
And you saw Irwin's face as she looked up. She's like, come on, you got to give me a charge. Was she there? Nah, she wasn't really there in time. Almost.
Cook goes to the line with the Spartans for 2 shots.
Nice early minutes, though, for the sophomore.
Cook to the free throw line, sophomore out of Michigan. Went for a career-high 17 points in 12 minutes of play against Detroit Mercy last time out. Well, Azurá Stevens continuing to use that long reach. She now has 8 rebounds, 9 for Collier. Nurse, Stevens, Irwin, Dangerfield, and Walker, the 5 on the floor for UConn. Final minute, first half. and Walker fumbled it. Still got a shot off for 2.
What a smart cut from Megan Walker. That's a move you can't, and those are great basketball instincts by the freshman.
Three-pointer for Cook.
First 3 of the year. He's 0 for 2 coming into the game.
Shot clock is off as Dangerfield directs traffic. Working with the Irwin screen. Dangerfield, a little hesitation, and the floater for 2.
Wow, how pretty.
Dangerfield's going to get called for a trip right here as McCutcheon goes down with a half second to go in the quarter.
It's funny, Dangerfield was tripped previous in this first half. No call. How about this play? Unbelievable.
That is the 4th team foul on Connecticut, so it is not free throws here for Michigan State. 2 personal fouls on Dangerfield, 2 on Williams, and Dangerfield tried to get off one final shot. Would have given her about 4 points, which are very difficulty on that one.
Great hustle by Dangerfield nonetheless.
Well, outstanding defensive performance again by Connecticut, holding Michigan State to 24% shooting from the field, and they take a lead in the halftime, 46-21 over undefeated Michigan State. UConn with 3 in double figures, Nurse, Stevens, and Collier. 12 for Nurse, 12 for Stevens, and 11 for Collier. And some good balance, and let's hear from Gino Auriemma.
Gino, offensively, we saw a strong paint presence. What did you see effort-wise from your team in the first half?
Well, I thought in the first quarter, you know, we were getting up and down the floor, and we were putting a lot of pressure on them, and I thought it was great. And then, you know, in the second quarter, we got Z come alive a little bit. You know, we need a presence from her, and I thought in the second quarter we did get a presence from her. But, you know, we also didn't get anything from Megan Walker. So for us, it's a constant search for, you know, getting everything. And in the second half, if we can get everybody going at the same time, you know, we'll be okay.
All right, Gino, thank you. Some things to work on in the second half from Gino Auriemma. He mentioned Azare coming alive in the second quarter. She has 12 points. UConn up 46-21 from Eugene, Oregon.
Huge day here in Eugene. The Civil War is taking place at 4 o'clock local time between Oregon State and Oregon in football. We still have a half of basketball to go here between UConn and Michigan State. Eric and Meg back with you at courtside. Great defense once again by UConn. That has been the theme throughout and has led to some pretty good looks on the offensive end for the Huskies.
Well, yeah, and the fact that they played a lot of zone defense was impressive, that they turned that into a lot of offense, but they dominated in the paint there. The miss by Collier, but cleaned up nicely by Stevens. And as we've seen time and time again, getting the ball up the floor. There, the great backdoor cut by Nurse and the good find by Collier, dominating the game in the paint.
UConn is 20 of 29 from the field inside the three-point line. It's skewed overall by the trouble from outside the arc. But
I would recommend for the second half, stay inside that three-point line.
For Michigan State, their leading scorer is Sydney Cooks, the freshman with 7 points. UConn with a couple of players flirting with foul difficulty. Gabby Williams played just 9 minutes in the first half, 2 points, a couple fouls, also has 5 rebounds, and 2 personal fouls for Crystal Dangerfield. It will be the original starting 5 out there for the Huskies, as Gabby Williams sent it to Kia Nurse, and now UConn going on offense and looking in the paint one more time.
Another nice finish in the lane by Stevens. Jenna Allen had no chance.
14 points now for Stevens to lead all scorers. KG's been held in check, as has Reimer. Reimer hasn't scored. Allen had it stripped away, and Kia Nurse knocked it off the leg of Allen. UConn ball.
You see the offense here, good spacing, nice pass. That power dribble and finished in the lane. Gino searching, as he told Justine at the end of the first half, to get everyone on the same page. Let's see if that can happen here in the second half.
15 assists now for Connecticut. Collier. The pull-up, too strong, but there's Stevens fighting again.
She's everywhere.
16 for Stevens.
Hello.
Three by Agee. Her second three-pointer, 6 points now for Brandy Agee.
A quick three from way downtown from Agee.
UConn was up 10 after one quarter. They went on a 17-0 run to start the second quarter. Now a foul called on Jenna Allen for Michigan State. Here's Justine.
Hey, Eric. Well, I talked to Gino before the game about what he would like to see from Azurá Stevens as she adjusts to UConn's style of play. He said, we're stressing how much more she needs to rebound on both ends of the floor. That is going to be huge moving forward. He also said, we have enough three-point shooters. We need to have her inside. She has to give us that inside presence, and I think we're seeing that so far today.
Kia Nurse with a hoop. The assist to Gabby Williams. McCutcheon can't get it. Knocked out of Stevens' hands by Agee. Michigan State basketball.
Justine, good point. You know, we are seeing Stevens way more active inside the lane and not just content to hang around that three-point line and jack up shots.
Sydney Cooks. Tipped away, and here comes Gabby Williams. Williams ahead of the field. McCutcheon, little tap, but Williams gets the bucket. 4 points now for Gabby. The lead is up to 30 for UConn. And a real tough shot taken by Colley.
Easy.
Stevens hands off to Nurse. Williams. Back to Stevens. Kicks it open is Dangerfield. And Collier's going to get called for the foul. Here's today's drive of the game, presented by Buick.
You see it time and again. The defense leads to the offense. Nice anticipation and steal by Williams. And the easy finish. Hands always active. Just so explosive.
Second personal foul on Nafisa Collier. So 3 players with 2. UConn with the pressure in the backcourt. Cook had it knocked away by Dangerfield. It will remain Michigan State basketball.
Nice active hands by Dangerfield.
We talked about a few moments ago how Crystal's shooting better than 50% from outside the three-point line, really running the show well offensively for UConn, but defensively she has been right in the mix with Collier, who gets a steal right here, and the rest of the Connecticut team. Everybody's just getting hands-on passes. Dangerfield can't convert to 3, but that's Stevens on the glass again, but she couldn't hold on to it.
I thought she got whacked in the side of the head there. Official right there, no call.
Reimer trying to work on Collier. Well done by Taya Reimer.
Number 32, Taya Reimer.
She played UConn when she was with Notre Dame back in the 2015 title game. 6 points and 11 rebounds. Now in her second year with Michigan State.
Nice pass.
From Dangerfield to Azurá Stevens.
Azurá Stevens.
Good lesson for Stevens. If you move without the ball in that lane, your teammates will find you. A spectacular pass from Dangerfield.
6 assists now for Dangerfield. Ira doesn't get the roll. Williams tried to one-hand that rebound. All she had available was one hand. I think her left arm was locked down.
Dangerfield is so, oh, look at that quick pass. She knew before the ball touched her hands that she was gonna fire it inside to Stevens.
Three-pointer is missed. Reimer gets the putback.
Number 32, Taylor Reimer.
Stevens feeds it inside. Collier's fouled by Reimer. That'll be team foul number 2 on the Spartans.
Her second foul of the game. Second team foul in the quarter.
UConn basketball on the baseline. Coco Gaines back in for Michigan State as Reimer will head to the bench. Tipped out to Collier, and now Nurse will take it. Collier for 3. First points of the second half for Nafisa Collier. 14 for the game.
Kia Nurse screamed so loudly when that ball went in from Collier. So happy her. I don't know if it's for the team to, finally be knocking down some threes, but certainly for Collier, who struggled.
Gaines challenged by Collier. Stevens has the rebound. And now Dangerfield wants to run. Nurse. She rattles into 3.
Having a lot of fun here this afternoon.
She had missed her last 4 threes, 0 for 8, dating back to the UCLA game. So I think that's time to celebrate.
Absolutely.
17 for Kia Nurse.
And I love that it came right after her teammate made a great play and she celebrated. When you celebrate others, usually good things come to you.
Inside of 5 minutes to play in the quarter, Collie tries to turn on Dangerfield. That's too strong, and a foul is going to be called on Connecticut. UConn on the run and finding a little something from outside the three-point line. Timeout, third quarter. Huskies up big. Stay on top of all things UConn with up-to-the-minute Huskies news, game recaps, press conferences, and exclusive interviews at SNYUConn.com, part of the SNY.TV blog network. Oregon and Oklahoma, game 2 of the Nike PK80 Invitational here at Matthew Knight Arena, and Kelly Graves. Number 10, Oregon, they got everybody back. Ruthie Hebard and Sabrina Ionescu, National Freshman of the Year. Of course, UConn knocked out Graves' team in the Elite 8 in Bridgeport last year, but this is a team to watch here, and Graves certainly in the local paper today saying, encouraging Oregon fans to come out saying, this is what we want. We want to be UConn. We want to have what they have. So he's been an interested observer here as his team gets ready to go here in game number 2.
And they are deep and talented, taking on Sherry Cole's Oklahoma Sooners. Should be an interesting game.
There's a whistle. Here's Justine.
Eric, in that huddle, Gino was reminding his team, when you have great ball movement, you get fouls and you get open shots. He asked them to cut hard to get some opportunities. He also reminded them to dribble. That will create some space.
There's Collier reaching out and winning the battle for the loose ball, and a foul called on Gussert. The last 2 Connecticut fouls have been called on Kia Nurse. She now has 3.
Her first foul of the game, team foul number 3 on Michigan State.
I just love the hustle.
Well, yeah, and
just
that's
amazing.
Collier saying, you know what, Coach, you tell me I can't play defense. How about that play? Nice anticipation, getting the hand in the passing lane, and as you mentioned, great hustle.
Hustling and trying to win those 50-50 balls is a constant, no matter who's on the floor. And on the floor for the first time today, Andra Espinoza-Hunter, the freshman. Gabby Williams now with 6. Stevens knocks it away. Crystal Dangerfield getting a rest with Nurse on the floor running the point. Williams turned it over.
Interesting reaction by Gino Auriemma.
Wasn't a positive reaction, I guess. Collier with the rebound. And a foul called on Collie.
Foul shot number 0, Shea Collie, her third foul of the game.
Well, it's not too often you see Gabby Williams throw the ball away like that. I mean, she is an outstanding passer.
Yeah, I mean, those are places that make coaches crazy. Watch them.
Like we talked about before, with Michigan State, you don't want to turn it over right in front of your bench.
Yes, great point.
UConn and Gabby Williams just had a little taste of that. .310 to go in the third quarter. 10 on the shot clock. Nurse gets the Stevens screen. Espinoza Hunter finds Collier. Stevens will take a three and make a three.
And if you're Susie Merchant, you're saying, wait, we held them the entire shot clock. With 1 second left, they knocked down the three, and a big three.
Combined with her time at Duke, Azrae Stevens has now joined the 1,000-point club. And she can always remember, I went over the 1,000-point mark making a three, so I can keep taking threes.
Absolutely.
Where was the foul there? Collier gets whistled for it, I do believe. No, Stevens gets the foul. Collier looked like she had it clean, but some contact from Stevens apparently. That'll be her first personal foul. So a couple of free throws for senior Lexi Gussert. Here's Azrae Stevens joining the 1,000-point club.
Pretty nice way to join that 1,000-point club.
First points for Gussert, who goes to the bench with Brandy Agee coming in. Crystal Dangerfield back in for UConn with Nurse going to the bench.
Hey, Stevens is so talented, she could get 1,000 points at UConn.
Well, that'd be a pretty big challenge when your teammates include Nafisa Collier and Katie Lou Samuelson, but she's adding to her total. 23 now for Stevens. Inside of 2 minutes to go in the quarter.
Nice pass.
Inside, well done by McCutcheon to find Allen. First points for Jenna Allen. It will remain UConn ball.
Nice find again by Dangerfield. You keep your hands up and get open, she will find you.
8 assists for Crystal. Kicked outside, Espinoza Hunter. 4-3.
How about it?
9 points now for the freshman from Ossining in her UConn career. And a rebound for Collier. Collier with a double-double, 11 rebounds now. Espinoza Hunter trying again.
A little aggressive.
Out the basket for Nia Holly, getting her first points.
I gotta say though, I like the aggressiveness and the confidence of the freshman. Espinoza Hunter saying, I'm open, I'm gonna take it. I just knocked one down.
Dangerfield dribbling to a spot to get open and knocks down her first points of the third quarter.
However, I'm not sure her coaches may feel the same way as I do.
I think you can guarantee that. That's the feeling from that bench.
The look on Shea Ralph's face said it all.
She, of course, fiercely protective of her guards to Gino Auriemma, but sometimes can't win the fight. I do think, though, that Espinoza Hunter is next in line. Obviously, you see her as the second freshman into this game, but Auriemma has seen and said things about this freshman that, well, we see glimpses, and she's getting an opportunity here in a one-sided game against Michigan State. UConn will be at Nevada next game. We'll see some games in the schedule now that UConn has gotten a little bit of a break here, even though they're still traveling before the Notre Dame game. Not playing nationally ranked opponents this game and the next game. Williams goes to the bench, Nurse back in.
Yeah, Espinoza Hunter's been earning it. You know, this game time was earned in practice, and you got to get in the game. If you produce in the game, you will find yourself in more and more.
Shot clock is off. Game clock inside 10 seconds now. Dangerfield to Stevens. Back outside, Nurse. Nurse got it. At the horn, Kia Nurse knocks down a three-pointer. Nurse with 20 points, and in that quarter, UConn scored 31 points to stretch the lead out to 77-35. And Kia Nurse with a couple of threes in that quarter. UConn rolling in Eugene. UConn outscored Michigan State 31-14 in the third quarter. They shot 68% from the field. A couple of double-doubles here today. Nafisa Collier with 14 and 12. Azurée Stevens joins the 1,000-point club overall in her career. Not just at Connecticut, obviously, but her time at Duke as well. 23 points and 14 boards for Stevens.
It's nice to have, you know, as nice as it is for Gino to have Stevens playing so well, it's nice to have Nafisa Collier put 2 games together. Once again, wasn't shooting the ball great, had a terrific afternoon or evening at UCLA and is backing it up here again today.
AG couldn't hit. Allen with the rebound. And off the basket for Holly and a chance for a 3-point play. We'll make another strong third quarter for UConn. At UCLA, they had outscored the Bruins 22-9 in the third. They were a plus 17 scoring in the third quarter against Michigan State. They come out of that locker room, and we've seen it through the years, and certainly with this year's team. They come out, they get right at you, and it's like the start of the game with that little bit of a reset. And getting a rest.
And it's always been a focus of theirs to come out, particularly the first 5 minutes of that third quarter, and just pounce and continue to play hard and not give your opponent a chance to think, okay, we can maybe get back in this game. And that's what makes them great. They never, ever let up. Nurse.
Stevens posting up on Reimer, and she'll earn a trip to the free throw line.
Number 32, Taylor Reimer, her third foul of the game.
So Stevens will step to the stripe, adding to her team high total. At least she'll attempt to. 23 points.
You know, you think it just magically happens. Everyone's used to watching UConn. They always win. They win big. But you know what? This team is young. Even though they got a bunch back from last year, every team takes on its own identity. And that's where Gino Auriemma and his staff are so good at just building it day by day. And it's built in practice. But you see them every game in this early part of the season. They're getting better every game.
Stevens defending AG gets another rebound. Here's Crystal Dangerfield. Nurse.
She thought about it.
Williams. Pretty turnaround by Gabby Williams. 8 points now on 4 of 6 shooting. She also has 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Limited minutes after picking up a couple of fouls in the first half. Holly couldn't get the drive to go. Williams with the long pass. Dangerfield feeds Espinoza Hunter.
Pretty fast break once again from the Huskies.
Holly cooks for 3. She's the first Michigan State player to get into double figures. The freshman, Girls Player of the Year in Wisconsin and a McDonald's All-American last year. Looks like a good player for Michigan State. Inside of 8 to play here in the PK80.
Nice pass.
Espinoza Hunter will try another 3 and make it. Well, she has settled right in here in the second half and put in 8 points on 3 of 4 shooting.
She did a nice job. You know, it was a nice move to move down to the corner and a nice find, too, from Stevens.
AG with 8. Williams in a little trouble, doesn't panic when trapped. And now Dangerfield. Crystal with 9 assists has matched her career high. That 3 won't go, and Kia Nurse fighting for the rebound. They play on.
Nurse got away with 2 fouls in that little sequence.
Dangerfield with a strong box out, but couldn't take the rebound away from Holly. Now Stevens rips it down. "25 points, 16 rebounds for Azure Stevens. Espinoza Hunter, tough corner 3.
Cook's got away with another little push there.
And Azure Stevens was open underneath, but Kia Nurse couldn't get the pass to her. She got hacked.
Yeah,
Foul.
There's been fouls all over the place here.
Not all of them called as they continue to play. Well, the interesting thing here, Meg, is UConn is doing this and clicking without arguably their most talented offensive player in Katie Lou Samuelson. Still out with that foot injury. And credit to UConn for finding that rhythm against Maryland and against UCLA very quickly when taking one of the key pieces out of the rotation. Now, when you put Azure Stevens into the starting lineup, it doesn't seem fair sometimes, but you work all preseason with a rotation and that kind of mindset if you're a coaching staff and you have that piece taken away pretty quickly. They've adapted pretty well.
Oh, they've adapted incredibly well, and you got to give the coaches a ton of credit for always having them prepared.
Molly Bent into the game for the first time. Espinoza Hunter, Nurse heading to the bench. Kyla Irwin in as well. Dangerfield, Bent, Williams, Irwin, and Megan Walker, the 5 on the floor for Connecticut inside of 6 minutes to play in the 4th. On the drive, they'll count the basket and a chance for a 3-point play.
This is good for number 2, Madrika Cook.
So Madrika Cook will head to the free throw line.
Let's see, nice penetration from the baseline. You know, that's what's frustrating. I mean, Irwin was standing there, and you saw some of the crazy body blocks we saw, and you're going to call that little thing?
They called the foul on Williams for making contact to the side of the face.
Okay, thank you. I was looking at that going, how do you call that?
Third personal foul on Gabby. I should have jumped in earlier for you there, but I felt like you were gearing up for a rant a little bit. Like Thanksgiving's over for you. You got cross-country travel coming up. You're like, Angry Meg is ready to come out.
I didn't get any leftovers. Come on.
Yeah, your flight was too early. UConn will head up to Portland today after the game, stay overnight in Portland, and then they will fly down to Nevada's. Dangerfield is fouled, taking to the basket. She'll go to the free throw line to shoot a couple.
I also have to say happy birthday to my daughter Claire, whose 9th birthday was yesterday, and I left early, so.
And you're waiting to the 4th quarter? Claire, we're so sorry. Happy birthday. Your mom knows how to keep an audience, though. Like she had to watch to the 4th quarter. Dangerfield with 9 points, 9 assists, now into double figures with 10 after making 1 of 2. Williams didn't turn around, but Allen was there inside, just couldn't score. Looked like she's hurt. Yeah, she's limping in the backcourt. Dangerfield, beautiful pass to Irwin with the finish.
Biggest smile of the game on Dangerfield's face.
A new career high in assists for Crystal Dangerfield, into double figures in assists with 10. And heading to the bench is Allen after turning her ankle in the backcourt, so she'll head out of the game. So there are 3 UConn players with double-doubles now that Dangerfield has a double-double. Oh, she tried to look away to Gabby Williams.
Defended nicely.
Lead back the other way for a basket for Gusser. UConn had 3 players with double-doubles in the win against Maryland at the XL Center, so another 3 double-double game. Dangerfield getting a little sloppy here in the 4th quarter, inside of 5 to go. McCutcheon, Gaines makes the 3.
Victoria Gaines.
Bent couldn't hold on to it, ripped away by Cook.
He has some sloppy passes here from UConn late.
Gusser couldn't get it, and Irwin rips away the rebound. And it'll be UConn basketball when we come back. Everybody can just take a moment, catch their breath. 89-50 in the fourth. UConn up in Portland, they had a win over Oregon in the PK80. Lost to Michigan State last night. They face Arkansas on Sunday. UConn women getting a little payback against Michigan State. Saw an interesting sweep last weekend. UConn beat Maryland in women's basketball, and UConn beat Maryland for another national championship in field hockey.
Nancy Stevens is just, she's unbelievable. What she and her staff have done. Another national championship in field hockey.
Michaela Coombs into the game for the first time. Irwin. Back out to Coombs. Gabby Williams still out there. And here's Williams kicking it back outside with 5. Coombs can't hit, and the rebound for McCutcheon. Coombs looking for her first points as a member of UConn. Molly Bent will get called for the foul. So I mentioned UConn going up to Portland tonight. They'll stay over in Portland and fly down to Nevada because on Tuesday it will be the homecoming game for Gabby Williams, as UConn will be at Nevada in Reno Tuesday, next door to Gabby's hometown of Sparks. So a homecoming game for Katie Lou Samuelson. Didn't go exactly the way Katie Lou would have scripted it, although the end result, very impressive win, was
But how bad when
good
you've
for
got,
UConn.
you know, dozens of family and friends coming to see you play, high school coach and team, and you're hurt. So, you know, sometimes life isn't fair.
Nevada in the Mountain West, they entered the weekend 1-2 on the season. They're hosting the Nugget Classic this weekend.
This is a heck of a road trip for these guys. Holy cow.
Well, they left after the Maryland game last Sunday afternoon, flying out to the West Coast. Team taking part in some Nike PK80 Invitational ceremonies. Phil Knight, co-founder of Nike, was there. Of course, PK80 celebrating his 80th birthday. That's coming up next February. 4 women's teams, 16 men's teams.
I think they've been planning this for about 4 years.
And you've got a Nike insider, Caroline Doty,
Oh, yeah.
here watching the game today.
Gracious host.
Now living out here in Oregon. And a trip to the free throw line for Michigan State.
The Huskies, number 4, Michaela Combs.
So UConn will fly back Wednesday morning early after the Nevada game and then try to settle down, kick all the jet lag out of the system, and get ready for a little matchup next Sunday against their arch rivals, Notre Dame. Sad to say, we will not be with you again until that Duquesne game. Well, that's another homecoming game, though, as Kia Nurse will be playing near her hometown of Hamilton, Ontario. She will be in Toronto to take on Duquesne. Cross half court to Bent. When did the homecoming game kick in for UConn? Did you have a homecoming game back in?
Well, at that time, Villanova was on.
So that counted.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's already in our conference.
Yeah.
So, but going out of your way for non-conference games, been going out for a while.
Yeah. And I think it's a great, you know, it's a great thing for the staff to do it and to try to, you know, just thank these kids and their families. It's a huge commitment, obviously. And it's always nice to get some home cooking, get home, see your family and friends.
For our selfish purposes, it'd be nice if they would recruit Europe a little bit more, maybe Hawaii. Those homecoming games. It'd be nice if they popped up on our schedule. And that's going to be a foul on Gabby Williams, her 4th. Well, UConn really turned it up defensively in this game one more time, holding Michigan State to 21 points in the first half, 14 third quarter points. The score will get skewed a little bit here in some extended sloppy time in the fourth quarter as Michigan State has outscored UConn 19-12 here in the fourth. Alexis Gordon will check in. That's laid up and in, 4-2.
And think about it, though. In the 4 previous games, Michigan is averaging almost 100 points a game. So UConn has done a good job of locking things down defensively.
Walker.
Nice look to the future there.
4 points now for Megan Walker. Azurá Stevens, the big story here today with their 25 points and 16 rebounds. Molly Bent runs out and gets the finish. 18 fast break points for UConn today. 54 points in the paint. And now a turnover, and Coombs coming away. And Michaela Coombs has her first points for UConn.
Michaela Combs.
Well, Gino's trying to tell them to foul so they can sub.
AG into double figures now with 10. Here's what's going to happen. Gino's going to call a timeout to make the substitution, but that will also get us to a media timeout. And I think he had forgotten that. Yeah, so it's going to be a little longer timeout than you want, Coach. 95-58 in the fourth. UConn en route to their 5th win on the season, on top of Michigan State, 95-58. Lexi Gordon, thanks to that timeout, able to check into the game as
You gotta have a little fun, right?
well, you know, danced a similar way during that commercial break. You just didn't see it. Dancing on the inside, so I don't embarrass myself. What a performance for Azurá Stevens. 25 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists in 31 minutes. She was 10 of 15 from the floor. Turnover taken by Cook for 2.
Number 2, Margarita Cook.
Connecticut's largest lead was 45 early in the fourth quarter. Michigan State has cut it down to 35 here, final minute of play. Gordon tried to drop it down to Walker. Extra pass made, and Walker couldn't get the finish. Feed from Combs, and a trip to the free throw line coming for freshman Megan Walker.
Nice hands defensively, staying active to steal that. And look at that, nice pass. Just couldn't get it to drop. But she'll get to the line.
Justine touched on it before. Megan Walker getting into that UCLA game and contributing with those 13 points. 3 for 3 outside the three-point line after missing her first 6 three-point attempts on the season. Gino saying that Walker earned some trust from teammates and coaches. Maybe that was more important than the win.
Yeah, to come in that kind of environment first time, and think she hadn't been practicing well either.
Kennedy Johnson into the game and getting her first point, senior out of New Jersey. And thrown out of bounds, 11 seconds to go. So UConn will improve to 2-0 on this Western swing, 5-0 on the season with one more game to go on this road trip. They'll be at Nevada on Tuesday night. Gabby Williams with her homecoming game.
Jump ball call, the ball stays with Spartans.
Tie up and a possession arrow pointing Michigan State's way. And I think Gabby's going to come out a little chip on her shoulder in that homecoming game after picking up a couple of fouls in this game. Kind of kept her in check as Coombs gets the block at the end of the game, and that does it. UConn, against the team that had averaged 99.8 points a game, holds them to 62, and they scored 96 of their own. Susie Merchant watches her Michigan State team fall for the first time this season. They do so against University of Connecticut. Azurá Stevens, one of 3 players to record double-doubles here today in a 96-62 win.
And think about it, 96 points without Katie Lou Samuelson. That shows you how potent offensively this team is.
Kia Nurse with 20 points for Connecticut. Stevens joins the 1,000-point club for her career. Combined Duke and UConn with her 25 here today as Connecticut heads off with a win.
you also can't dismiss the fact they've been on the road for a while. It's a nice game on the road.
Let's go over to Justine with Gino.
Gino, heading into the half, you talked about wanting everybody involved on offense. Did you see a group effort in the second half?
It was a little better, yeah. I thought our ball movement was great, and our guards really did a great job of pushing the tempo the whole game, and can't say enough about Crystal and Kia. They've played a lot of minutes, and they're just doing a phenomenal job of getting us into what we want to get into, and Z kind of came alive today, after that first quarter. She really got a lot done the rest of the time she was in there, and if we're ever going to be like a really good team, we need contributions like that from her every night. I know what I'm going to get from most of the other guys, but if we can get that, so I think that was, that was probably for me the best part of today, is getting Z to where she is right now.
What do you think clicked for her today, and in the UCLA game as well? It started.
Well, I think the UCLA game, I think she knew, like, she wasn't as happy as with her performance as she could have been. When you're 6'6" and you don't get a double-double every night in the first half against, teams that aren't as big as you, and it's just because she's just learning how to move without the ball. This is all new to her. And, we're getting her some movement, and, when people not used to moving, trying to get them to move is not easy. But today was by far the best game that she's played all year.
Last question for you. One more stop on this road trip. What have you seen from your team so far out here on the West Coast?
Well, I like how we're trying to be mature about everything. We're not letting the travel or the hotels or the waiting in the airports or buses, whatever the case may be, because it's taxing. Not physically, it's just, you lay around all the time. That's what you're going to become. And I like how mature we're being, and I just hope we got a couple more days left in us.
All right, Gino, good luck in Nevada. Thank you. Eric, back to you.
Justine, thank you. UConn with 30 assists. That's a season high. And our People's United Bank player of the game is Azure Stevens, who is on the receiving end of a lot of those assists. She was 10 of 15 from the field, 25 points, a UConn high, 16 rebounds, a UConn high, 5 assists for Stevens as UConn beats Michigan State 96-62. And here is Justine with Azure.
Azure, Gino told us that you came alive today. How would you describe your performance?
I think I was just attacking more, especially down low. Coach has been getting on me for not just settling for jump shots. So after one of the second timeouts, I just started attacking the basket. And my teammates did a really good job of finding me in good places.
Gino wanted everybody to contribute offensively. What did he tell you in the half, and how were you able to capitalize that coming right out of the gate?
He just told us to get points down low. We knew their bigs were a little bit slower, and so he told us to exploit that using our quickness because they're really physical. And so we did a really good job of just putting the ball down low and going past them.
All right, last question. One more stop for you guys. What's been the best part of this West Coast trip so far?
I'd have to say Cali and In-N-Out. I tried it for the first time, and it was delicious.
All right, that's a pretty good one. That is a pretty good one. Azure Stevens with a double-double, 25 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists.
All right, Justine, thank you. And Azure with that big game, as UConn has 3 players record double-doubles, including Crystal Dangerfield, who had 10 points, 10 assists, and 1 turnover in her 34 minutes.